What's going on, everybody? It's Pet Plus underscore info, and now introducing my new Pet Plus underscore info podcast. Stay tuned for what's next. What's going on, everybody? It's Pet Plus underscore info. Welcome to my very first Pet Plus underscore info podcast. This is my very first time doing this. Please be patient with me and enjoy. So with that being said, today's topic is going to be how to tame and bond with your iguana. And I'm also going to give live examples with topics that come about. So the first topic I want to talk about is when you get your pet iguana. I do want to note that in my experience with my two different iguanas, I have a male red iguana and I have a female green iguana. With my experience with my iguanas, I do believe that the red iguanas are much more aggressive than the green ones. The red ones, my red iguana, it's a biter now. It was a biter when I first got it. I had tamed it, but of course I picked up more days at work, and I haven't had time to really bond with my red iguana. So I wasn't taking him out. I wasn't petting him. So because of those longer work hours that I had, my red iguana went back to being aggressive. My green iguana, it's never tail whipped me, it's never tried to bite me, but it's flighty, very flighty. So we're talking about iguanas being skittish iguana. The first thing you want to look at with your iguana is the body language and eye contact. Believe it or not, iguanas are very, very aware of who you are. When I first got my red iguana, as soon as I put his enclosure together, it became aggressive immediately. When I first bought it, right out the store, and I had to actually go to like 3 other stores after that. I actually had it out on my shoulder, and it was fine and dandy. It didn't become aggressive until the enclosure came about. They are flighty. The red iguanas can be flighty. They can bite, or they would do tail whooping. Y'all gotta excuse me because I'm reading my notes that I have off to the side right here. I have a skittish iguana will react with 3 different ways, if not just 1 or 2 of them. They may come with all 3 of these things. I'll state that I believe that red iguanas are more aggressive than green iguanas. So we're gonna go to the topic of, once you have your iguana's enclosure set up and you put your iguana in this enclosure. Again, once that iguana has settled in, it will become cage aggressive. Now, cage aggressive, I don't mean not always necessarily biting, but definitely tail whipping or trying to get away from you. So I'm just gonna read off my first example of how to approach to pick up, meaning grabbing your iguana. When I go to my iguana's cage, when I put my hand in there, it tries to bite me, it tries to tail whip me. Those are the 2 signs. Also pay attention to the eyes. The iguana is looking dead at you, and they don't have facial expressions, but when he tilts his head and the body will move like in a curve shape, is letting you know that don't come near me. It's ready to bite, it's ready to tail whip. This is with my green iguana. Again, I want to state for the record before we get off in this, everything that I'm talking about is from my experiences of my iguanas. Both of my iguanas, I bought them very small, and they have grown tremendously. So when I go grab my iguana, or when you go to grab your iguana, be sure that when you go to grab it, it's not above the head. For those who don't know, iguanas have a third eye on the top of their head where they can see shadows, like they can see shadows or the silhouette of something. We gotta remember, out in the wild, they love to be up in the trees. Birds are looking to find a meal. So the iguanas can get away because of that third eye. So going back to when I go to grab, or when you go to grab your iguana, make sure your hand is not directly over the head. When I go to grab my iguana, I come from the back of the front legs, and I grab the body, and I pick him up. I'm going to show y'all some signs, examples of this as well. Most iguanas, their temperament is wishy-washy. Even a calm, loving iguana has its days where it don't want to be messed with. So don't think because one day one week your iguana is just fine and the temperament is very loving, and it flip-flops to the next day you go in there to grab and it tries to bite you. The temperament is wishy-washy. When I'm handling my iguana, I always, I go through taking the chance of getting bit or getting tail whipped to get him out of his enclosure. This is the best way of taming your iguana. With iguanas, it's hands-on. You can't be afraid to handle it. You want to use precautions. As you can see, I keep picking up these gloves. You want to use precaution of how you're trying to handle a aggressive iguana. When I go get Congo out of his enclosure, like now, I can, when I open up the closure and I go to stick my hands in, he's looking at my hand. He's got his body shaped and he's ready to bite. Sometimes he's whipping the tail. He's also going to bring his head around to bite me every time. So what I do to distract him, to get him out of the cage, I stick this hand in there so he can stay focused, so he won't know what I'm about to do with this hand, because this hand goes in his face. I take this hand and I put it in his face to catch his attention. He turns his head. As soon as he turns his head, focus on this hand right here grabs the back of him, and I pull him out of his enclosure. I'm going to show y'all how Congo acts when I'm trying to get him out of his enclosure. Remind you also that when I first bought him, he was doing this. There was a time to where I was spending a lot of time with him. He was in and out. I was doing everything I needed to do to calm him down. It did work. And then I went back to working long hours, and he's back to being aggression. And I'm glad he's back to with the aggression now, because I want to show y'all examples and signs to look for when your iguana is either going to tail whip you or bite you. And even the eye contact of the iguana. The iguana is watching you very closely. So yeah, that's with that. I'm gonna grab my phone right here. I'm gonna flip the camera, and I'm gonna show y'all some of the signs of tail whipping, his eye contact, him paying attention, and the biting as well. So what I'm gonna do now, because I know he's gonna try to bite me. When I have these on, I feel like, even though I know he has bitten the glove itself, but when he bites it, I can't feel it with these on. So I've gotten to the point where I'm used to him trying to bite me or whatever. So I'm going to show y'all some of the signs, some of the things that he does to I'm trying to flip this camera, y'all. So give me a second here. We're having technical difficulties. Okay, y'all, this is the exam. I'm going to show y'all some of the signs to look for when your iguana has cage aggression. Again, when I first got Congo, when I first got him, he was doing the same signs. I had started working with him in and out the cage, petting him. I was doing everything I needed to do to show him that he had no reason to feel threatened by me. It works just fine. All it takes to calm these iguanas down, y'all, is being persistent with it and being consistent with it. That's all it takes. That's all it really takes. But because I had picked up more hours, and the hours that I work in are graveyard shifts. I'm working from 6 to 6, almost 7 days a week. And because of that, I haven't been down here petting him and playing with him and letting him do his thing. So he's been back in the cage, and what the repercussions of my actions is the reason why he's back to being aggressive again. Let me move this tripod over. I'm going to show y'all how he acts now. Again, when you're dealing with a iguana that bites, you may want to put on some gloves. The gloves, they work just fine with me. They're regular work gloves. They have rubber here. My fingers are protected with the thick rubber in the front as well. And believe it or not, he knows when I put these gloves on, I'm coming to get him out of that enclosure. Without these gloves, while he's in that enclosure, there are times that I will grab him without the gloves. And like I said, to distract him from biting you all the thing you have, what I do, I stick, again, I'm gonna get in front of this camera so you can see me. I take this hand, I put it in back of him. As you can tell, he's trying to tail whip me. He's paying attention to his hand. You can see he's trying to bite me. He's trying to bite me. So what I do to distract that, I take this hand and I put it up here. I put it up here. Or when I can't get his attention on this hand when I'm trying to grab him, I just go like this and I just go straight in and grab him. And I'm gonna show y'all. Come on out of here, big boy. So I'm gonna show y'all the difference. When he's outside of the cage, the temperament comes down. He still would try to tail whip me or even try to bite me. But most of the time he doesn't. If y'all notice right here, right now, you see the eyes are closed. This is being submissive. His back open. And what I do this. You see, he opens up his mouth. Aggressive iguanas, they won't close their eyes and hold their head up for you to rub them. They don't, when they're just mean, they're not going to do this, and this is what he does. This is what he does. He wants to go out here on this log here. So I'm going to put him up here. Hey, and this is how you know he's calm. You see, his eyes is closed. I'm trying to put him on his log that he likes to be on. Once he sees the log near him, he'll climb on it. You see there? Now he's on it. So there he goes. So now we're going to talk about, feeding to tame your iguana and to teach your iguana. Stay tuned for that part. Okay, so now that y'all have seen how I handle my iguana, this method that I'm using can work for you as well. Again, when you buy a iguana, initially when you put it in its enclosure, the iguana is going to become cage aggressive, and that's just what it is. But don't be discouraged. Don't think that, oh, it's never going to be nice to me. It's not going to do what other people's iguanas doing on TikTok and whatever. You see videos of people with iguanas being so loving. You can get to that level, and I'm going to prove it to you that you can get to that level. As you see him here, he's there. He's very calm. He loves this log I have here. And like I said, what I do is when he's out of this cage, I'm constant. I don't have to have the gloves on here. This is what he does. He's going to hold his head up high. He loves to be rubbed. The temperament being inside and outside is completely two different. You'll get two different results. This is all it takes on a daily basis. If you do this, take him out of that cage and just pet him and feed him outside the cage, this is what you'll get. Again, an aggressive iguana will not close his eyes. He's got his eyes closed because he's enjoying the rub. So, I want to talk to you now about, feeding. So I have written here, feeding outside the enclosure compared to feeding inside the enclosure. Your pet iguana, everybody's iguana have favorite treats. Congo here, he loves blueberries. And one way that you can start taming him and teaching him is through feeding. You can go outside today and go to someone that has a very aggressive dog that's in its territory. You trust to believe me, if every day you went to that cage and associate your stay with that dog with food, eventually that dog will stop being aggressive to you because it knows that you're bringing food with it. And you can do that with iguanas as well. So I want to show y'all something. I want to show y'all some signs of being food aggressive, along with just being aggressive already, and calming down. I'm going to show you here. Let me back this up. So I'm going to bring Congo back some so y'all can see him. Congo is going to try to jump over here. So I want to show y'all something. So you see these tweezers. Congo, my iguana, have already associated these utensils to feeding. If you pay attention to him, look him in his eyes, and I'm gonna show you the tweezers. There's nothing in here. Again, he knows this. This is not food. The tweezers is not the food. But in his mind, when he sees these, he associated with food. One of his favorite treats. One of his favorite treats is mealworms. So I want to show you something. If I put these, even with nothing on it, if I put it up there in front of his face, maybe he doesn't see anything. But I'm gonna, you see that? There's nothing on this. There's nothing on it. And the reason why he's biting these again is because he's have associated food with these tweezers. Now I'm gonna grab a superworm for him. And the next thing I want you to pay attention to, the next thing that you need to be paying attention to is how does he grab the food? Does he grab the food aggressively, or would he take it calmly? Now, in the beginning, again, if I was to do this with him inside the enclosure, he would take it very aggressively. Outside of the enclosure, different scenario. You're gonna get two different results. So I'm gonna go grab a superworm right quick here for him. So as you can see, I have a super round form. Now what you want to pay attention to, look at him. You see him? He's not looking at me. He's looking, believe me, their eyesight is precise. He's not looking at me. He's looking at these tweezers. Now I'm going to offer this to him. Now I want you to look at the signs. If he takes this aggressively, then he is still angry, don't feel like being messed with. But if he takes it gently, that means he's calming, you know, he's outside the enclosure, he's calming down. Let's try it. Let's see how he takes it. Let's see if we can get a good picture. I'm gonna offer it to him. Can you see that? Very gently. Very gently. He takes it very gently. So going back to my point is when you feeding iguanas inside the enclosure compared to feeding them on the outside of the enclosure, you're going to get two results. Consistency and persistence is one. Two, spending time with your iguana. When I'm feeding him, or when you decide to feed your iguana, as you're feeding him, as you can see, as I feed, there's nothing on here, but he's paying attention to this. By him paying attention to this, that gives me, hey, see that? You see that? That he's not paying attention to this. Yeah. Yeah. Calm down. Calm down. Calm down. So this is food aggression, y'all. He's doing that because of the food. I put this down. It's out of his view. And look what he's doing. He's back to, okay, rub me. I'll take the rub. Calm, cool, collective. Calm, cool, collective. And these are the signs that you want to look for. So, there's my example with that. I have on here, did it take it aggressively or gently? In my experience, in the beginning, my red iguana would take super worms very aggressively, meaning it would have bitten my fingers. As I'm feeding him, as I'm offering the food with the tweezers, I'm going to always associate that with petting him as well. What I'm trying to get him to understand is that, yeah, I give you this treat, but for this treat, you got to allow me to rub you. And, you know, with being persistent with that, eventually you won't have to offer food. You can just walk up to your iguana and pet your iguana when he's outside the cage, once you calm him down. I have when your iguana allows you to pet it with its eyes closed, this means it enjoys being rubbed. An angry iguana would never close its eyes. It will close its eyes. It will have precise eye contact with your movement, ready to bite or tail whip. That's with any aggressive iguana. It doesn't matter if you feed them or not. If they aggressive, they got their eyes open and they're watching your every move. He's ready to either tail whip you or bite you. I recommend not feeding your pet iguana inside the enclosure. Always feed your pet outside of his home. This will reduce your pet from being cage aggressive, as I stated before, and prove to you the difference. You want to teach your pet the time of feeding. There's a time for feeding, and when he's outside the enclosure, you want to also feed him in the same area. When you put his bowl down or with his food in the water, put it in the same place to where he knows where to go get it. You also want him to understand the difference between nighttime and daytime. During night hours, normally all of my lights off are in here. I could literally leave Congo. I can leave Congo out, and the most he would do is probably come down, wander on the floor. Whatever you do, he's not gonna get into anything. He's gonna just wander around, but eventually he's gonna come back to this stick. So I'm in this log, and that's normally where he likes to be. I highly recommend getting a large enclosure for your pet iguana if you do not take your iguana out daily. So if you're gonna have an iguana that you don't plan on trying to calm down, hand feed, teach it to come to you and relax with you, it needs a very large enclosure. They need somewhere either very tall or very wide. Iguanas, again, they like to be up high, so I went and bought a bird cage, a big bird cage, and it stays up high. It goes down, eats its food, and it goes back up. But for the most part, when I'm not working as much, I take him out of the cage and just let him do his thing. I recommend buying a few. If you're gonna have your iguana outside of your enclosure, outside of its enclosure, I recommend going buying some nice fake trees. Go get you some fake trees, some fake bushes. They love it. They love to be in these fake trees, and for the most part, they're not gonna go nowhere. They'll sit there for hours. They'll stay on the treetop for the most part until they want to climb down for food. Going back to the iguana's temperament, I have written here, note to all pet iguana keepers. First and foremost, my statement, all of what I'm saying is based on my experience with my iguanas. I'm not talking about no one else's. People are going to have their opinion on whatever, to each his own. Your iguana is your iguana, my iguana. My experience comes from the trials and errors that I've been with especially him. When I got him, he was probably this long. He was a very small iguana. Also note that when you go to pet stores and to buy iguanas, most of the times they're wild caught. Most of the times they are wild caught, and they're always going to be skittish. They're always going to be aggressive, tail whippers, biters, and all that. You may get lucky sometimes and go to a pet store to purchase an iguana, and someone had, sometimes people donate them to the pet stores resell them. Sometimes the pet store will get iguanas from people that's already had the iguana and it's been working with the iguana. So you may get lucky and get one that's, calm. You may get one that is wild caught and it's going to be flighty, it's going to be tail whipping, it's going to bite you. Again, those three actions from the iguana, I do get them all from the red iguana. None of the green iguanas that I've ever encountered have been biters or tail whippers. The green iguanas, to me, they're flighty. Remember that consistency and persistence is a guarantee to a happy, loving iguana. You spend a lot of time with that iguana, feeding it, petting it, handling it, letting it roam around and be free. Your iguana will be everything that you're looking for in that iguana. Iguanas are very aware of their keepers. The iguana know who you are. It knows it can identify your face and your voice. They are very intelligent. They can recognize your face and they can recognize your voice. They're very intelligent reptiles. Remember, again, once you have gotten your iguana to the point to where they're calm, and you let them roam around, your iguana will be on the floor. It will climb up your leg. It will even relax on your chest or relax on your shoulder. I constantly, not constantly, but at least once a week, I take Congo out to the park. Sometimes I switch it up. Sometimes I bring my snakes with me to allow, but I love taking my iguanas out to the park. Being the temperament from being home to outside in the park, they don't become aggressive when you have them out. If you don't take them out all the time, they don't become aggressive, but they're very aware, and they will really just sit on your shoulder, and because they see the birds flying around, they see everything. So a lot of times when you take them to the park, for safety measure, you might want to put a harness on it. If you know your iguana is not going to take flight with you, you don't have to have the harness on. He's good to jump over here. No, come here. No, Yeah, go on back up here. Relax. So yeah, he wants to get down. He likes to communicate with the bearded dragon over here. So yeah, when you have it outside, the iguana is gonna pretty much stay on your shoulder or on your chest, because if you don't take it all the time, it's scared, it's weary, and it's gonna stay where it feels safe at, and that is on your chest or on your shoulder. If you decide to buy an iguana, please take in consideration that you must have patience with your pet. That's with anything that you buy, especially if you have some animals that you just can't be cuddly with and they're cute, and you have other animals that will get to know you and become loving and feel as though that you are the daddy or mama to it. So with patience, you will see a lot of good results that you're looking for. Once you set up your enclosure again and house your iguana will show signs of aggression, as I've already showed you and gave you examples. The key point to breaking that aggressive behavior is handling, but also giving your iguana its space. You have to give it time. Most people get new pets, take it home, and you just want to be, you want to be in there. That's not going to do it. That's actually going to do more damage than what you're thinking. That iguana is going to stay aggressive, and that iguana may stay flighty. You have to give your iguana its space. The key point to breaking this aggressive behavior is handling, but also giving your iguana space. In the beginning, I recommend showing your face and talking to it calmly with slow movements. When you first get an iguana that doesn't know you, this is how you approach the iguana. Is you show your face, you talk very calmly, and you slow movements. Do this. You want to do this for about 2 weeks consistently. 2 weeks, every day for 2 weeks. You will see signs of the iguana calming down. Your next goal will be the same, but now you want to open up the door of the enclosure. Open up the doorway of the enclosure and start putting your hand inside the enclosure. Now, when I say put your hand inside the enclosure, I don't mean this is the iguana and you got your hand all in its face. It will bite you. It will bite you, and you're not going to like it. When I say put your hand inside the enclosure, put it somewhere like on the side of him, far away from him, and safe. And you want safe distance, but on the side of him, and just keep it there. If you do this on a daily basis, your iguana will now accept the fact that you are in his territory. It will calm down. Again, keep your hands away from the iguana in striking distance. Just set your hand inside the enclosure. Your goal is to get your iguana used to your hand being inside its territory. If your iguana attacks you, remove your hand out of there, close it up, proceed with those same steps again the next day. You want to do this every day. When your iguana attacks you, take your hand out of there, close it, walk away. Try it again the next day. Remove your hand and repeat these steps every day until your iguana doesn't react to you being in its space. Also pay attention to your pet's favorite fruit. This will also be a key factor in calming it down and hand feeding. Once, as I showed you an example with you see he has his back turned to me now, right? Again, when you start associating food with your iguana, your iguana will calm down. Again, I'm gonna show you this again. There's no food on here, but when Congo sees the tweezers, he associated with food. Let me see if I can get him to turn around. Let's see. As you can see, these are the examples. There you go. Once you know that your iguana likes the treats that you're offering, you want to take advantage of that. Feed it to him. Come up behind him. Don't come above his head. Come straight to his body, and pet him. Every time you feed him, pet him. So eventually, in due time, when he sees, when it sees the tweezers or whatever you're using to feed him with, he's going to associate the petting with the feeding. Just like Congo here has associated these tweezers with feeding. Okay. Once your iguana starts coming to you and accepting food from you, now will be the perfect time to start letting it out to roam around the house. This is what I do with iguana. When I say let it roam around, Congo here, I let him out and I just let him do what he wants to do. There are some times I have to intervene. Again, I have a bearded dragon that he wants to fight really bad. So, but when I got him out and I decided to go upstairs and let him do his thing, Congo cannot get in none of these enclosures in here. So my other pets in here are protected from him. As your iguana roam around, offer it treats. You want to offer it treats, but understand this: when offering the treats, you want your iguana to come to you. Don't take the food to it. Let the iguana come to you. As you can see, he's coming down. Let's see. I want to show y'all something. Look here. So he's all the way down here. You see the tweezers? We got the tweezers here. Right here. So yeah, he knows the tweezers. He knows what's going on. Look, he closes his eyes. Again, a very, very aggressive iguana is not going to close his eyes. You just have to be careful. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. Come on. Come on. Come on up here. There you go. So as you can see, he's calm. He's skittish. He's a little skittish, but he's calm. He's okay. Again, you have to do this every day, y'all. Every day. And you have to do it every day to break that temperament, that aggressive temperament. Okay? When your iguana becomes aggressive like that, that's because you're not spending no time with it. The only thing you're doing is feeding, watering, and you're leaving. Once you get him a space where he likes to be at, this is what they do. Again, so this iguana I'm buying, he's tame, but he still has some anger issues because due to me working so much and I haven't been doing what I was doing before. So this is what happens. Aggressive iguanas don't close their eyes. He literally they love to be scratched, they love to be rubbed, and you can get your iguana to that point as well. So again, I'm really in this. Again, this is my experience with my iguanas. Some of the topics that I mentioned, that does apply to any pet keeper, any pet iguana keeper. Again, when you first get your iguana, understand that when you grab it, it may not be flighty. It may not be aggressive when you just get it out the pet store and you take it out the box and you're holding it or you let it sit there. It may not be flighty, but you trust them leaning especially with red iguanas. Once you get that iguana home and you house it and you put it in its enclosure, the temperament is going to change. It's going to, after so long of being in there, it's going to claim its home. It's going to claim its home, and it will defend it. All it takes from there is every day going in its enclosure, taking it out, bringing it out, feed it outside of the enclosure. Do not feed your iguana food inside its enclosure unless you don't plan on, you're coming home from work and you're tired. There are times when I come home from work, I don't feel like bringing them outside its enclosure. I throw some greens, some squash, some zucchini. I'll throw some food in there just so he can eat, so I know that he ate. I'm only doing that because I want him to eat. But the very next day, I have him out and I'm interacting with him. And that's pretty much it, y'all. I hope that someone have learned something from this video. And stay tuned for more pet history in the making. I appreciate y'all taking the time to view this video. I appreciate all my subscribers, all the likes and comments. If y'all don't mind, please give this video a thumbs up. Again, this is pet+_info. This is my very first podcast, and I just learned how to do it. This is a crash run, like a crash run, but I think it was pretty successful in my eyes. Stay tuned for more. There's more things and ideas that I want to share, and examples I would like to share with you all. Again, this is pet+_info. Welcome to pet+_info podcast. Thank y'all for viewing. God bless you, and you have a great night.